Hello everyone, I'm here to do a video on estates and land for real property. This is good for the essay portion as well as the MBE portion. Estates and lands offer a possessory interest in the estate. There's quite a few of them. There's the FSA, the fee simple absolute, the FT, let me get mine. FT, which is the fee tail, FSD, which are the fee simple defeasibles, and there's an off branch of these. FSD is the fee simple determinable, fee simple subject to a condition subsequent, fee simple subject to an executory limitation. Okay, so FSD, fee simple divisibles, there's three of them: FSD, FSSTCS, FSSTEL. Okay, the FSD is a fee simple defeasible. This allows a property to be held or conveyed to another. However, the property is subject to a stated limitation, so it will state what the limitation is there, and there's three types of them. Okay, so fee simple defeasible. So a determinable is present, that's present tense, and the future interest of it is a reversion. Okay, and we're going to be looking for keywords such as while. Oh, sorry, let me clear that. Color. Such as while, language for while, until, or unless. Okay, so the future interest is a reversion. A reversion means it reverts back to the grantor if they do not follow the while, the until, or unless, whatever actually limitation is there. Okay, so an FSSTCS is the fee simple subject to a condition subsequent. It has the potential to terminate an estate at the occurrence of a stated event, also stated event, but the termination is not automatic. So it's not automatic. That means you need would have to be held in court, and in order for you to get the future interest, which is the right of re-entry, it must be taken into court. Okay, you're looking for language such as but if, provided that, and upon condition that. We'll go over these in a chart in a second to simplify them. The FSSTEL is the fee simple subject to an executory limitation. It automatically terminates a preceding estate at the occurred of a stated event again, but the estate then passes to a third person. So you're looking for a third person in this. Okay, you're looking for a third person to so-and-so, and if he doesn't abide by this, then to so-and-so. So that's the third person you're looking for. And there's no reversion to the grantor. So no future interest of a reversion to the grantor. A life estate, this is big on MBEs, they always have the life estate, lasts for the lifetime of that person. There's a life estate per autre vie, similar to a life estate, but lasts for the lifetime of an identified third party. So it identifies a third party and it lasts for their lifetime. Defeasible, a life estate may be defeasible like a fee simple, such that the life estate ends before the life tenant dies if the limiting event occurs. Okay, so the life estate ends before life tenant dies if the event occurs, whatever the limiting event is. And then waste, a life tenant is not allowed to commit waste. And I see these on MBEs. Life tenant not allowed to commit waste. Okay, let's move on to our next one. And here's the actual chart I was talking to you guys about. Let me move my things here. They're kind of in the way. There we go. So here's the estate. The estate, the language that goes with that estate, and their future interest. So basically it's divided like this, which I couldn't do, so I'm going to do here now. Okay, so that's how it goes. We have the estate and FSA, which is a fee simple absolute, and the language used is usually to A and their heirs, and the future interest there is none. Okay, so fee simple absolute to A and his heirs, or just to A, and the future interest is none. Now an estate, the estate of a fee tail is to A and his heirs of his body, so it's got to say heirs and his body. Okay, the future interest is down here. Didn't make it over here. Let me see if I can do that for you. Get it back up here. Let's see if we can. Okay, reversion or, there we go. So a fee tail to A and the heirs of his body, look for the word body, and it's a reversion in the grantor or the remainder in the third party. FSD is a fee simple determinable. You're looking for language as so long as, to a during, or to a while, and the future interest for that is a possibility of reverter. And the FSSCS is a fee simple subject to a condition subsequent, looking for language as to A upon condition that, to A provided that, to A but if. It's a right of reentry as their future interest. So you have to know what the estate is and what their future interest is. FSSEL is to A, but if X occurs, then to B. This is where we're looking for our third party. B is the third party, and they get an executory interest. Executory interest is usually shifting. Okay, that goes on future. Executory interest for an FSSEL. Now, an LE is a life estate or a life estate per attribute. This language has 2A for life or 2A for life of B, and it's a reversion in the grantor or a remainder in a third party. Okay. Technical rules on these. Restraints on alienation, that's important. You see a lot of MBs on that. They're void, like never be, like example of this is like never be sold, but reasonable restraints will be upheld. So if it's not reasonable, it won't be upheld, but if they are reasonable, they will be upheld. Then we have RAP. Now, rules against perpetuities, and this is hard to get. I mean, this is hard to grasp. But for MBEs, we just really have to know that it applies to these things here. So if you're reading an MBE and it's not one of these, then RAP does not apply to them. We're not even going to pick that answer. So that's kind of how I do this. So RAP, of course, RAP provides that no interest is good unless it must vest, if at all, not later than 21 years after some life and being at the creation of the interest. Okay, and if we're on an MBE and it's talking about a contingent remainder, we're going to apply RAP. Executive interest, apply RAP. Class gifts, apply RAP. Powers of appointment, apply RAP. Now, RAP does not apply to vested remainders, does not apply to reversions, possibility reverters, or right of reentry. And remember, these are the future interests. So if it has to do with the future interest, and if we go back here and look at our chart, future interest for FSD is a POR, possibility of reverter, so we're not going to apply RAP there. So if we're talking about a fee simple determinable, we're not applying RAP. Why? Because the future interest is a POR, okay? Or an RORE, which is a right of reentry. Let's go to our next one, future interest. Here we go, possibility reverter, right of reentry, reversion, remainder. Was it a vested remainder, a contingent remainder, an alternative contingent remainder, and then there's executory interest, and that's the shifting and springing method. Let's go over these. Future interest. So I should have done the technical rules last, but those apply last. So we'll go to future interest now. So possibility of reverter follows a fee simple determinable. Let's just write that real quick. Equals an FSD. A right of reentry. Right of reentry follows a fee simple subject to a condition subsequent. Fee simple subject to a condition subsequent, okay? And a reversion is created when the holder of an estate transfers to another something less than the entire estate. It is vested and not subject to RAP. So we know that reversion is no RAP. Remainder, there's three kinds. There's the vested, contingent, and alternative contingent. Vested remainder is one created in an ascertained person and that is not subject to a condition precedent. So vested, they have to be ascertained, which means alive. Okay, ascertained person and is not subject to a condition precedent. No conditions there. No condition precedent. No condition precedent. Okay, and a contingent remainder, these are a lot on MBs. If you don't know what they mean, it's very hard to answer. Is one created in an unascertained person, there's a difference here, or one that is subject to a condition precedent, or someone who is subject to the condition precedent. Okay, opposite of vested. Alternative contingent, which I haven't seen, but occurs where both contingent parties have the capacity to take over and it pivots on the same condition. Example of this is to A for life, then to B and his heirs. I hope I can fit this. Then B and heirs. Then to B and his heirs, if B marries C, there's our if B marries C, okay? If B marries C, otherwise it's going to D. That's the long one. That's an alternative. Obviously, we're making an alternative suggestion here. We're going to give it to D if that doesn't happen. Executory interest, shifting executory interest always follows a defeasible fee. Defeasible fee, and there's the three that we talked about earlier in our other slide. Defeasible fee, and cuts short the prior interest. It's going to cut short the prior interest, okay? Now the shifting one, or the springing one, is possessory at some point in the future without cutting short a prior interest. Does not cut short the prior interest. Okay, so future interest. Then we go to the technical rules, and I just did those. Restraints on alienation you might have to write about, but you need to know them for MBEs for sure. Remember, they're void unless they're reasonable. They got to be reasonable. RAP only applies to these. RAP does not apply to these. So that has to be memorized also. Let's go back to the beginning. Estates and land. We talked about the freehold estates first. Then we have to kind of memorize our little chart here to know what future interest goes with what estate, or what present estate is here, and what is their future interest. Let's go to the future interest, explains them a little more, and then your technical rules. So this is a really quick write-up, but I think this is mostly for MBEs, is what I see here. So let's do our quick slide on our write-up if we need to write this up. Okay, so approach, which I do in all my videos. I try to do it quickly. So the approach here is the rule. After we do our rule, we're going to go into our present interest. Future interest. And then lastly, our technical rules, if any of them apply. And it's quick, like I said, it's quick on the essay because you have to worry about other bigger issues. So technical rules, okay, and that's your approach. And that's my lecture for estates and land. And my next lecture is going to be joint ownership, concurrent estates. And I'll be doing that probably within the next day or two. Thank you.